Or by you, the crowd.
I'll sit over there. I'm trying to get Angie to play too.
So far, we've got 3 players. If we get more, people can grab characters. It's not like you don't know each other. Let me get stuff out of the way on this side.
Sorry, Matt just asked if I could be positioned to face the door.
I'll be able to see it too, and I'll keep an eye out. Wonder what I did with my glasses. Oh, here they are. Awesome. Okay. Welcome to Leaflet Mission. Thanks for playing. First off, I give you these guys.
No,
He just gives you a handful.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't really count.
So those things. Next, pick a character. There are 9 positions on this B-17 bomber. There are 4 officers. Let's see. Let me find my list here. You've got Captain Robert Johnson. He's the pilot. Lieutenant John Makepeace is the co-pilot. And then you've got Lieutenant Bernard Rybczynski. He is the navigator. Lieutenant Clark Butler is the bombardier. Those are the 4 officers. Also on board are 5 sergeants. They have the positions of, let's see, flight engineer, who handles the gun on top, and then you've got radio operator, turbo gunner underneath, as you can see. Turbo gunner is a little guy, has to be to cram in that thing, has to also be able to handle it.
Really?
He's so awfully amazing. He's got the best view in the entire ship when it comes to dropping anything and seeing down. There are usually 2 waist gunners. Unfortunately, on the last mission of the Pretty Lady, which is the name of this aircraft, Sergeant Lester Coffey, nicknamed Ham by his friend Sergeant Zachery Burgess, was killed from it was enemy aircraft fight. And finally, you've got a tail gunner in the back. These are all various sergeants. That's the lowest rank you're going to find on the B-17 bomber. So take a look at them, see who you like. Here's actually a photograph of the entire crew, including Les Coffey. Here's another one. One of them's in their flight uniforms. The other one is in there basically without all flight gear. Say again? Yes. Yep.
Bombing runs on this one. Oh no!
Well, no bombs. There's actual little bombs for the bombing runs. And this represents the aircraft, but it is not the aircraft. So.
Are you gonna play? Huh? She goes, I hate. You never played Cthulhu. Somebody, I don't know. Angie knows a million people.
She knew my friend last night. I'm like, Angie, you know? Oh yeah, I met a guy tomorrow. I'm like, he's my friend. Just let me know.
So what gets me, and then she thinks that because she knows a million people, that I know a million people. I was like, there's no open mind.
There's no correlation
Yeah.
here.
Oh, don't you know? It's such a such. No.
Oh, here it goes. Yeah.
Hand me the list, or
you've been.
Yeah. Do you need it?
Pretty Lady's been doing leaflet missions for some time. It is part of the 497th bomb group, heavy bomb group.
You just always said that he's a scrapper. He uses his fist as much as his words. Like, that's interesting.
You can pick anybody you want. The pilot and co-pilot are in the cockpit up here. The flight mechanic is behind them. He mans the upper turret. Flight engineer. The bombardier and navigator are down in the front. The navigator is on the port side here. Okay. And the bombardier sits up closer to the front. Let's see who else. The radio operator is alone in the radio room. He has a 50 caliber machine gun shooting at the top. There are 2 50 cals in the front for use by the navigator. The bombardier actually has a radio-controlled or a remote-controlled gun in the front with 2 twin 50 caliber machine guns. Each of the waist gunners has a single, well, one remaining waist gunner has 2 50 caliber machine guns, and the tail gunner has a twin 50 caliber machine gun.
Have a seat here.
You'll be fine. What do you mean you're not good at it?
She's never played it.
You've never played it.
And Andy's an awesome DM.
Hey, Angie, it's easier than D&D.
Is that mine?
You can pick whoever you want in there. You have to pick a guy because it's a crew of 9 men. So this kind of gives you over. Who's picked who so far?
I got the co-pilot.
I got the tech sergeant.
Over there.
Yeah.
The tech sergeant.
I'm
Flight
Burgess.
engineer.
Flight engineer.
Yeah. Good for you. It's a
Who
prop.
have you got? What character did you pick?
Burgess.
The waist gunner.
I'm Burgess.
Okay.
Yes.
The waist gunner. Okay.
Did I not answer that?
Who's not?
I
might
didn't hear
have-
it.
These are all not.
Then I didn't.
Burgess.
Here, I'll pick one.
Okay. Just for a little background, you guys are part of the 492nd Bomb Group Heavy, 406th Bomb Squadron, Leaflet Squadron, 8th Army Air Force. What's the matter? Okay.
Dude, we're
I supposed to call Mom.
you can call mom.
You call mom. You can call.
We have 4 hours.
Yes. And this is actually a fairly short scenario.
Give it to the cis guy.
The deceased guy.
This guy already is.
This guy.
You suck at this game.
Here, she'll be the ball turret.
She'll be the ball turret.
Well, it's the smallest guy in the crew.
This guy balls, man. You gotta
He's
like
a
it.
small guy. So to start out with, why don't we?
Where did you even find the candy cigarettes?
You remember this
That little at Mass Store.
mess store we went to? Yeah. Freaking, it's just a huge basket of them.
Yeah.
They have cut rate tobacco. They have. That's,
Oh, really?
Well, when I played, remember when I played Chip, I always had a bunch of these.
This guy's a chain smoker.
Yeah.
If you check on the back of your character sheet, you will see there's a little bit of information on. You see, there's a little information on kind of what your duties include on the ship or on the aircraft. Tony, you place Lank, Paul Lank, little ball turret on
What's the smallest guy? And
Burgess.
doing guns.
Oh, yeah, that's something that you can, if you wish, have a 1911 Colt 45 semi-automatic pistol and 3 magazines, if you so desire.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get the stats for that.
Oh.
A lot of flyers do not go up armed because if you do get shot down, you're probably gonna be behind enemy lines, and you're really not there to fight on the ground. But it's
And you
your
look
choice
less-
whether or
less-
not you want to
less,
try.
Oh, my guy's
threatening if you
my
don't-
guy's gonna. Since he's a
Say again.
you look less threatening. My guy's a scrapper, so he'll take a pistol.
Okay, if you want to add the information in pistol, let's see. The 45 automatic is damage is 1d10 plus 2. The base range is 15 yards. 1 attack per round. 7 in the magazine. What else information is there? Oh, and malfunction is a 0-0.
Dodging 50% dodge. This is Chip's brother, cousin.
Maybe a cousin. Where's he from? There should be a short break history there.
Graduated from high school. He's at Pearl Harbor.
Oh, yeah, he was from Honolulu.
Well, he was stationed at
He
Hollywood.
was stationed there. Okay. You okay? No, you're fine. Steve picked you out the ball turret cutter. You get crammed in a tiny little hole.
Go pee.
I already did. I said I had to be.
We're not in a hurry. This is a short mission. He's not rushing. So
Well, that's why I was
I just wanted
rushing
to
because
get all ready
yeah,
and be ready on time for people.
yeah.
That's why I was
my
rushing.
phone. Like I said, he is.
They put on his girder belt, just slip into his uniform.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That's what we
And put
found.
on his face.
Why'd you?
His what? Spates?
Yes.
It's a girl thing.
It's a little tight.
Just go.
That's why I'm gonna probably
You're
stand
quiet
up, 'cause I
anyways.
can't sit down.
Ooh, nice
It's
helmet.
like a garter.
Yes, that's what's there for most of
I
it.
think that's
Form fitting and
I got that in
Yeah.
North Carolina when I was in Detroit. And kept it. It's actually
let's see.
actually a camo covering.
Okay.
You guys can skim over that. We'll go over all that. You don't have to really know it. It's just for background. Laura, did you say you wanted to be armed to have a pistol?
I was thinking about it, but I guess it don't matter. This is just a general idea on how everything happened.
Yeah, you're the co-pilot. When the plane is on the ground, you're in charge. Taxiing the plane, making sure the plane is ready for takeoff,
Okay.
all that stuff. You're actually the one driving while the pilot is double checking
Coordinating.
things, coordinating.
Yeah.
Once it's time for takeoff, that's when he takes over. You also tend to you'll I can't remember.
If there's an issue with the plane, then you
Yeah.
deal with the issue.
If the pilot's injured, you'll take over.
Right.
If the pilot needs a break,
You relieve him.
you will relieve him. that kind of thing. You are second in command, essentially. Captain Johnson is in command of the vessel. You guys have been together for several missions. I think it says
7.
under your description exactly how many missions you have
I had 10.
participated in. And it's going to be different for everybody. Just some have been in the same amount of time, others are newer or have been with been there long. At 25, I believe it's either 25 or 30 missions, you're supposed to be then rotated stateside. Well, towards the end of the war, they started extending.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. So it's supposed to be 25. It's probably extended. You are all very lucky. The Night Leaflet Squadron is actually a little safer than going on bombing runs with the daylight bombing missions that are common for B-17s and B-24s right now.
Yeah, British go do it at night, so you get shut down.
It does help that you're doing it at night. There are some night fighters on the Nazi side that are very good. And to drop the leaflets, you actually have to go lower than for the actual bombs, and you have to slow down a lot more than dropping real ordnance. You're dropping Monroe bombs.
Is mine 30? I can't tell. They're quite low.
Is your what?
Sanity.
Oh, yes, your sanity is 30. With the Monroe bombs that you've been dropping, what these are they're a paperboard cylinder.
50?
Wow.
They're a paperboard cylinder that holds about 80,000 leaflets. The cylinders are actually used for transport of the M17 incendiary bombs, and then they are used to build these Monroe bombs. They drop the bomb. There's a timing device inside that causes the bomb to burst, spreads the leaflets out. Very simple device. The B-17 can hold about 8 of them, and that's what you've been doing. Your last mission has been about a week. I'm going to leave that indeterminate because I'm not sure how close together the night flyers for these missions. I wasn't able to find that out. I'm guessing less than a week. Les Coffey, who was your friend, you that one who actually nicknamed him Ham, because what goes better with coffee? That was Burgess's logic.
Yeah.
He was on one of the waste guns behind you. You guys were buddies. I think that you've been on the same number of missions. He got killed last mission. Let's see what happened to him. You guys tangled with a Messerschmitt over Germany one night, and he was killed during the combat.
Like in the plane, like it shot up the plane. He just
Yeah.
like, killed it.
Oh yeah. He was hit by bullets. It wasn't flak or anything like that. It was bullets from the Messerschmitt.
Got it.
Penetrated the plane, and he died before you guys gave it to Brett.
Got
A couple other things. The date is February 1945, late February 1945. By February 1945, the Germans are on the run. After the disastrous Battle of the Bulge this past December, they withdrew from the Ardennes in the first 2 weeks of January. By mid-month, U.S. 1st and 3rd Armies linked up. FDR was sworn in for his 4th term as U.S. President on January 20th. Soviet troops had liberated Warsaw and Auschwitz by the end of the month. And by early February, Belgium had been cleared of all German forces. On February 13 and 14, Dresden was destroyed by firebombs by the Allied bombing raids, which got a lot of flack from a lot of people. And those bombing raids have continued on Germany. It is the evening of Sunday, February 25th, 1945. And you have been called in. There you go, if anybody would like to see the calendar. The Great Britain calendar is actually going to be better for the moon phases, more accurate. The US, I've included a US calendar just because you guys are from the US. And you're in the US Army Air Force. You're in the Army. This is the Army Air Force, which is the Army. The separation has not happened yet between them. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
What date in February?
February 25th,
25th.
1945.
So your full moon on the 27th.
Yes, it's a gibbous moon. It's filling up. It's very
Pretty
cold.
bright, probably.
Yes. Yeah. And you go into the pre-briefing, and you're a little surprised because you know that there's another B-17 bomber that's supposed to go on this raid. She's called the Big Money. You guys have done a lot of bombing runs together. But when you come into the pre-briefing room, which is the larger room, you don't see any of the crew from the other B-17 anywhere to see. Usually when you're on a bombing run with another B-17, everybody's together at first, then you break into smaller groups, and you get your regular briefings individually. Your commanding officer is Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Wilson. He's a tall, thin man with an imposing face, and he's waiting in the briefing room. There's another officer with him, with a cluster on his jacket of a major. You do not recognize him. You've never seen him before in your life. He's slimly built. He's wearing an insignia on his jacket that is unfamiliar to you. Just ignore the name for the time being. That's what he looks like.
What insignia?
Say again?
The insignia is not in this picture.
No.
Let's say because I'm fully career military, so.
I'll give you a knowledge to see if you recognize the insignia that's on his shoulder.
Knowledge.
It should be up at the top,
Yep.
top right.
No. 6%.
The colonel, smoke him if you got him. You got it?
Yeah.
Looks OSS, the Office of Strategic Services.
Why is it not American?
Because the Office of Strategic Services is an American military.
I thought that was a British. No, I'm thinking that's never.
Yes, correct. That's okay. You don't know everything about World War II? Get out! Okay. The lieutenant colonel, or Wilson says, smoke him if you got him.
I already had one.
Yeah, my guy's
He always lets you guys smoke during briefing. He didn't care. Says this is Major Donald Galvez with the Office of Strategic Services, P Division. We got a special mission from the OSS tonight for some reason. Single target near Munich. I'll let Major Galvez take it from here. He doesn't really seem pleased. The colonel doesn't seem very pleased. This is technically Mission 848A. Our own planes are busy with a couple pack of missions, so this one falls with some B-17 from the 406. Single drop over the city of Munich. You pilots and navigators will be given the exact location shortly. Place is a forced barrier between Munich and Dachau called Schwarzholz, where we feel the inhabitants need some vital information about how badly the war is going for the Nazis. He hands out some flyers that you know that these are the flyers that are dropped. There are several. One is completely in German. If your character speaks German, you can read it. Another one is a breakdown with the translation into English. Here's more translations. Other languages. He's also got this to show you. He actually puts this up on the board. It's much larger than that. It's a map of your flight plan. He also hands out, I don't have these, but several area photographs of the area, which shows a wooded area with what appears to be a raised area with some kind of large structure in the middle. It looks like in one of the photos, one of the clearer photos, the structure looks like it might be some kind of a castle. And he says, "That castle is your target. Are there any questions?"
Castle.
There's a photograph. There's some closer photographs. Yeah. There's no way I could have got it.
No, my character castle.
That's right, Sergeant.
Artillery, anti-aircraft on this.
Oh yes.
Leaflets
Regular
on it.
briefings will brief all of you on all the specifics for your particular need in the mission. And you know, there's a briefing. This is the pre-briefing, which everybody gets together. It's a general overview. Then everybody breaks up into groups. The gunners break into a meeting. Pilot and co-pilot, navigator and bombardier, and you get quick individual briefings before you head out for the plane.
Town around this castle?
Nearest town is Dachau and Munich. Each of them are several miles away. I'm sorry, Sergeant, I couldn't quite make that out.
Excuse me, I just cleared my throat, sir.
Those cigarettes are a nasty habit. Any other questions before we go off to the briefing?
I'm gonna die anyways, I might as well die.
Now, Sergeant, you don't have a question, I don't need to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
All right, then. I will be accompanying your aircraft on this mission. I'll meet with Captain Johnson and Lieutenant. You're Makepeace, aren't you?
I'm sorry?
Isn't your character's name Makepeace?
Makepeace, yeah.
I'll be meeting with Captain Johnson and Lieutenant Makepeace before liftoff. And that's at that point, and he kind of just walks into the next room, and you guys know that's where you're supposed to go into your individual briefings. Adam, you go to the pilot and co-pilot's briefing. It's in the mail briefing room, M-A-I-L. Not like,
Sergeant.
Yeah.
you're given the route.
You're also
the target, you're given more details on the target, the flak defended areas, fighter support, none. Fighter rendezvous points, none. You will have no fighter support on this mission, which is not unusual. The initial point is where the pilot actually gives up piloting the aircraft to the bombardier. It's about 40 miles from the target, which is SOP, and you and the pilot will still have vertical control, lateral control, and then the bombardier can control where the plane goes side to side, so we can use the normal bomb sight to try to hit the target. He also includes information on marking of he's got paperwork markings of friendly aircraft, enemy aircraft opposition likely. Their biggest bet is that if there's any enemy aircraft, it'll be BF-110 Messerschmitt Night Fighter. It's a twin-engine, 3-man plane. You've dealt with them before. There's a cannon on the front of the freaking thing. It's a 20mm cannon. Machine guns on the back, machine guns on the front. It's a hell of a plane. The Germans been using it for years, and Night Fighters against you is basically the best thing that it's good for. There's no flak expected along the route to the target until you reach much closer to Munich. That's kind of pointed out for you. He also reminds you of the prisoner of war security, what you're allowed to tell, what you're allowed to say. He gives you information on escape and evasion. You've got your regular information on oxygen. It gives you all the same old paperwork that you always do. If anybody wants to look over these are maps and pictures of the B-17, kind of give you an idea from the inside.
Are they give all of us these, or just him?
Just him. It's just him and the pilot in this meeting. I'm going to skip the bombardier and the navigator's briefing, since you guys have nothing to do with that. Yes. The gunner's briefing is the rest of you three in the gunner's room. Information that you get includes information on the target. Again, you see closer-up pictures of the target. You see areas.
Are we dropping leaflets on a castle?
Of course.
The colonel's one talking to you, not the captain. He says, "Well, according to the major, there is something going on in that bog, and I want to inform them what the Nazis are losing the war." And you know a lot of leaflet missions are propaganda missions.
I know they're propaganda missions. You want
to do a higher populated area, not
True, that is true.
Yeah.
No.
Doesn't make sense.
I was told the mission's classified.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't like it, sir.
That's fine, Tony. Flak areas you learn about. Most of the guns are near Munich. Enemy aircraft to be expected. Again, the BF-110. You guys have dealt with it. It's a monster. It's a nasty plane. It's really good at what it does. I thought I had a prisoner of war thing. Name, rank, serial number, all that stuff. The route from the IP to the target. There's landmarks shown to you guys. You'll be able to see them very clearly in the bolt turret gun. You won't be able to see anything on the ground. You will also have a bit of a view here. They're showing you outstanding landmarks. It's a lot of information to process, and you're expected to look at these things, try to remember as best you can, and then head out. You know that your craft is being fueled while you're in this briefing. The Catholic chaplain, Father Zaza, gives comfort and encouragement to you after the briefing, but before you actually board the aircraft. Anybody wishes to make last confessions, now's the time to do it. Or not. If anybody wishes to make a confession, now's the time to do it. You know, everything is just very typical, except for this major guy who is coming with you. Apparently, Adam, did you have any questions during your briefing? Okay.
Nope.
The leaflet bombs, as you head out to the plane, you see the leaflet bombs being loaded on board. Gunners are expected to go on board first. Mount your guns. Make sure it's all.
About these bombs. They look just like the
No,
leaflet
no, they
bombs.
look like the same old Monroe
The colonel
bombs.
said he was gonna come with us.
The major did.
The major.
Yes, the major.
Is that ever common?
No.
He just said.
No. You've had observers on board before? Never an officer?
The major's one briefing me.
Yeah.
No.
The
Yes.
lieutenant colonel.
The lieutenant colonel's in there, and Major Galvez is in there if you have any other questions for him. You and the pilot are the most important people on the plane.
Right. Well,
He's not
okay.
in ours. He is
Got
in
it.
yours.
Okay. Well, respect.
Oh wait, no. Sorry. He's not in your briefing. He was going to meet you on the plane.
The major?
Yes.
Okay.
The colonel does know too in his briefing that, and this will get noted to you after you ask your questions, that the entire mission is considered classified, and the crew of the Pretty Lady are not to discuss it before or after the mission. That's the orders that he says he has been given.
Is there any reason I can? Well, I mean, no disrespect, but for what reason is the major coming along on this mission?
You got me. He's an OSS spook, and part of the orders said Major's going on board. He'll ride in the radio room. He'll give your what's the name of your radio guy? Because the colonel would know it. He knows you guys pretty well. Yeah, there's.
I'll give him the master list. I got
There
it.
he is. Hicks, Sergeant Hicks. He'll give Sergeant Hicks some company, I guess.
Bear him.
Well,
I'm not there.
No, you could be there because he would have given you the same information, especially after you asked about it.
It's where radio communication takes place.
Yes, I'm sorry, Angie. Here, we'll do a quick synopsis of the plane again. Up front, you have the bombardier and the navigator. The bombardier actually sits closer to the front. That's where the bomb sight is. He runs this remote-controlled twin 50 cal machine gun. The navigator sits up here at a large table with maps and stuff. He is in charge of 2 single 50 caliber machine guns in order to help defend the vessel. You got your pilot and co-pilot, pilot on the left, co-pilot on the right, and then the flight engineer. I keep calling mechanical engineer. Who runs this top track with 2 twin 50s.
You're under there.
There's you in that little tiny thing crammed up. There should be a picture of the turret gun. You might want to show it to her. It's very.
I'm right above you with the gun on the side.
Yeah, Burgess is above and behind. There were 2 waist gunners. One of them was killed in the last mission by enemies shooting fire. Radio room is this area. Single 50 caliber machine gun there for defense. Radio operator tends to. And these are actually the antenna here. The string or the thread that you see.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
The
Well, like it wasn't symmetrical. I'm like, well, it's not anything that's
that affects
structured.
flight, yeah.
Right.
He is in charge of keeping in contact with your own forces. He's got a Morse code. He's got a radio. The entire ship is set up with intercoms. Once you get on board, you plug in your heated flight suit, and you plug in your intercom that's hooked up to your helmet. And pretty much you guys can talk to each other the entire mission. Waist gunner's here, and then there's a tail gunner who has to basically crawl back. And then he's on his knees. He's got a saddle he sits on, and he's on his knees the entire flight. Yeah. It's a little bit rough.
Old school.
Oh, yeah. So if anybody wished to... Huh?
Memphis Belle?
Yeah, Memphis Belle's B-17. She was painted different. I kind of wish I'd have painted that one.